You never got a job offer at ABC. You are seething that Anthony's back at radio and embarrassing you. Ha ha ha. I just tell the truth. If you don't want to believe that I've had numerous offers to go to WABC, I don't know what to tell you. Okay. If you don't want to believe that, I'm not going to sit here and convince you. I know I'm telling the truth. The people around me know I'm telling the truth. My family knows I'm telling the truth. It just didn't make sense money-wise because, I'm in a position that I need to make money. I need to make a certain nut. That nut would be hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So when a radio station offers you, in my case, that was a guesstimate because what they really offered was a revenue share with the money they would make in advertising to do a couple hours a day. The offer was 10 a.m. to noon was the last offer. But when Imus was retiring, I actually talked to them. They didn't officially offer me Imus's job. We were talking about it though. And then the talks kind of broke down because the money just sucked. And then they're like, all right, it's a guy named Chaz. He's like, this was all told at the time on my podcast, Opie Radio. Why would I just say this years ago? I guess I said it years ago, knowing that eventually Anthony was going to get a job there. But Chaz calls me. He's like, oh, I just need you on this station. How about 10 a.m. to noon? You don't have to work Fridays. He goes, but and I go, at that time, I did say, all right. Because I was kind of thinking, it wouldn't be that bad to go on a radio station to promote the podcast I was doing with Carl Ruiz. I said, all right, Chaz, I want to hear more. He goes, all right, so it's 10 a.m. to noon, 4 days a week. We'd want you in studio, but you certainly could do a whole bunch of shows wherever you want. At that time, I was pretty much living at the beach house. And he goes, well, there's one problem. What's the problem, Chaz? That's why I know they're not offering Anthony $300,000. He's lying through his teeth. Chaz goes, we can't pay you. We can't pay you. I go, what do you mean? So he goes, what we can do is what's called a revenue share. So whatever money we bring in advertising wise, we'll split with you. And so then we crunched the numbers, and at the time they were bringing in for that time slot somewhere just under about $100,000 in ad revenue. I would have to split half of that with WABC, and I wouldn't get all of that because I was only doing 2 hours of that time slot. Are you still following me? And then I would have to pay my agent. I would have to pay Carl. I would have to pay Vic. It absolutely wasn't worth it to me. So there you go. If you don't want to believe it, I don't care. I know I was offered gigs at WABC. Okay. Well, they wanted to talk. I actually showed the DM on my Twitter, but they actually wanted to talk. I got the DM around the 11th, and they wanted to talk to me. So they obviously wanted to talk to me around the same time they wanted to talk to Anthony. I'm sure they wanted to hire Anthony. So I'm not trying to say that they wanted to hire me first. I'm not going to say that at all, but it seems like they're looking for new talent over there, and they absolutely reached out to me as well. So maybe they were thinking like he does a few, I do a few, and then they're hoping maybe somehow, some way we would get together and do a few together. I don't know what their plan was, but they absolutely reached out. I think it officially was February 11th. All right, enough of that nonsense. If you want to believe it, great. If you don't, whatever. I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to talk about my life. Pretty much everything I say, because sometimes there's a little exaggeration here because, when you're in front of a camera or on a microphone, there's times you exaggerate a little bit, but in general, everything I tell you is the truth.